Get the recording going. There you
All
go.
right, we're grateful that you guys are here. A lot of different channels that you're on, but I'm excited. We've been doing these trainings here for a few weeks. So if any missed any of the past ones on social media planning or website optimization or automating really every lead follow-up and everything that we talked about, definitely check those out. Feel free to shoot me a note or throw in the chat if you haven't had access to those. I can send those out to everybody. But I'm going to have a computer here off to the side because I have, as I said, every week, I have kind of my command center here, all the different streams of where we have this. But I'm excited about today, something that honestly I wish I had training 4 years ago for me. It would have been a lot easier for just my personal mindset and energy level when it comes to getting testimonials and reviews. So I'm excited to
Yeah.
get into this with everybody today.
Cool. Yeah, me too. So Travis, while you're checking all that stuff and making sure we're streaming to all the groups, and the YouTube channels and all that stuff, while you guys are getting settled in, if you would just kind of drop in the comments and let us know, maybe where you're located or what you're looking forward to as far as this live stream goes. I always like to see the comments, and it's cool that we kind of have them all consolidated into a chat now. So hopefully we'll be able to answer all those and see where y'all are from. And we're going to get going here on this. So I think the main thing we're going to be talking through here today is reputation management. That sounds fancy, but it's really just like making sure that you don't look bad on the internet and that you look good on the internet. You have a good reputation. That usually comes from reviews. So you got like Google reviews, you got Facebook reviews. There's actually about 20 review sites that are popular, and there's probably I don't know, there's quite a few more that people actually look at um, for reviews. So we're not gonna be touching on all that stuff, but we're gonna be going through some of the myths that I think we need to bust in order to make sure that we're doing the right thing when it comes to asking for reviews, getting reviews, answering reviews, all that kind of stuff, and then how to make it real simple so that you're not spending your days and time messing with all that stuff. And also so that you don't have to pay somebody to manage their reputation. I have searched far and wide on the internet, on the interwebs, on a service or a software or something that will do review management and to do it well. And there's not one out there less than $300 a month. And so we're going to show you how to do it yourself without having to pay $300 a month for sure. Um, and we're going to make it real simple for you.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. I know, feel free to put in the chat if this has ever happened to you. You have someone that comes to you and says they're just loving the experience they're having at your school. And you say, hey, I really appreciate that. That's awesome to hear. Thanks for the feedback. Do you mind going onto Google or going onto our Facebook page and leaving a quick review? And they go, absolutely. I would love to do that. No problem. And then they never do it. And then you feel like, oh man, should I really bother them with it? So then you kind of like, hey, did you get a chance to write that review? Like, oh no, 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 I forgot. I'll get to it though. Philip's saying all the time. So, and then now you kind of have this like weird awkwardness because you're kind of like, well, I really could use that review, but I also don't want to bother them. But they did
Right.
say they were going to write it. And you have this kind of like old, like high school, like, is she going to go out with me? Like mindset. Should I ask her out again? Kind of thing. And it just kind of, it's
Yeah,
just like, it's just so exhausting and
it
it just
is.
wears you down. And then you don't want to bother them, but they said they would do it, and it's just so if that's happened to you, Ben said he forgets to follow up, which is true too, because it's on it. Hey, there people. That's a good point. People may forget to leave the review. Honestly, right? They have kids, they have jobs, they have stuff like that. Your school is not the main thing on their mind,
Right.
right? In fact, your school is probably not on their mind outside of the hours that they're at your school.
Yeah,
So being busy to forget to follow up or not being sure to follow up, even though people said they would, we're going to get rid of all that today. So you can just free up your time mentally, but also you didn't open your school so you could beg people reviews. You open your school so you could teach people instruction. So we want to get you back into that.
definitely. Definitely. So that's probably the biggest myth is that, either you need to continuously ask for reviews, right? Or you have to beg people or give them some incentive. I see a lot of businesses that do stuff that's actually against the policy for a lot of the review sites. They're like, hey, give us a review and we'll give you this free thingy or we'll do something. You're really not allowed to do that. Not that I don't think Google would ever catch you doing something like that. But you don't need to do that. There's actually some really, really easy ways to ask for reviews. That's completely within policy. That's not going to get you in any
Yeah.
trouble with Google or Facebook or Yelp or any of the other review sites out there. And we'll show you how to do that in a sec here. But I think, I don't know that we need to dive too bit deeper into that, but I think the second myth that we should really get into right now, which I think is probably a bigger one than we want to let on, is that reviews don't actually matter, you know? And I think for me personally, if I fall into that trap, it's because of myth number one. Like, I don't want to spend the time doing it. I don't want to be asking people for reviews constantly. And so I'll talk myself into the lie that the reviews don't matter. But there's actually some extremely compelling data that would say otherwise, that says reviews might be one of the most important things you can do right now if you own a business is have a good reputation online and be getting reviews. And I'll dive into some of that data here in a little bit. But anything to add to that myth, Travis? Any
Yeah,
thoughts on that?
I think you said it perfectly. It's something we kind of convince ourselves of. And then we start to say, well, I don't want people that are only going to come here based on, what they read on, we start to just kind of tell ourselves all these stories, right?
Right.
But that is definitely is something I think we just tell ourselves to not have to deal with something that we just don't really want to deal with. So
Yeah.
Ben agrees. Ben said that half of the people coming in mentioned seeing reviews into his school. So I'm wondering, as we're talking about this, feel free to chat in what the feedback is there. Are people telling you they're seeing reviews or they're not? But yeah, so I would agree with you 100%, John. I think you said it very well.
Yeah. Awesome. So, you guys have questions about anything with reviews? Go ahead and start dropping those questions in the chat right now. But I think the other big myth is that it's very time consuming to always have to be asking for reviews and replying to reviews. And what about fake reviews or bad reviews? Facebook right now they're they've lost some integrity with those reviews because they just allow people to put weird stuff on there. Like we got a review on our site not too long ago that was like, this person is so good at crypto trading. And I was like, what?
Yeah,
They gave us a 5-star review, which is great. It looks good on the on the star rating, but it's like, and then they go on to, if you need any help with this, contact me at this email. So then you have to report this stuff, so there is some time consuming stuff that you could get trapped in if you don't have this stuff automated and you don't have stuff systematized. And so we're going to be busting through that myth too. When you have this done correctly, it should take anywhere from about 5 to 10 seconds to 0 seconds to actually manage your reputation and do reviews correctly and get
yep,
reviews and ask for reviews and follow up and all that stuff. Everything, personally, I think we're at a point now where technology has really caught up and we can pretty much automate the entire process. But if
right.
you're just not comfortable with that yet, if you're a little bit worried about Skynet and the robots taking over, there's other options for you as well there where you can, you know, maybe let them give you suggestions or just,
Right.
back off completely and you can handle it yourself. Either way you do it, it shouldn't take more than about 10 to 15 seconds per review. And
Yeah.
so, unless you're getting hundreds and hundreds of reviews, it shouldn't take you much time at all. But,
Yeah. And I
well,
think because of all these myths of, oh, I have to beg people, I have to do constant follow up with people. I need to have some type of advanced plan, or they don't really matter anyway. So I'm not really sure if I want to. And then on top of that, I need to have like just it takes a lot of work. It's going to take a lot of hours. I think those myths are why people charge you $300 to $500 a month to do reputation management, is
mhm.
because they're kind of buying it. They're allowing you to buy into all those myths. Because if you put all that stuff on the table, yeah, okay, yeah, I do need to hire someone to do this, or I do need to pay someone to go out there and get me reviews, or worst case, I need to go buy reviews so I can just move. Like there's all these different things because all of this can feel overwhelming. Our goal today is to show you how it doesn't need to be time consuming. It doesn't need to be awkward. It's just very simple. So that way you can dispel all those myths. You don't have to spend any money on getting a bunch of reviews or paying someone to do it for you. And you can really just focus on teaching classes and then using those, harnessing those reviews to grow your school.
Yes, 100%. Absolutely. I love it. So, just a quick question. I just want to give you a little bit of a thought exercise here. As a potential student, if you were, if you didn't own a martial arts school or own a dance school or own your own studio, and you were a potential student and you Googled, you know, let's say it's martial arts in this San Diego area, and you came across these three listings here. Just based on what you see here, which one do you think you would go with? Which one would you call first? You might call all of them. There's a possibility, and
Mhm.
a lot of people will call every single one of them just to shop around. But which one do you think you'd call first? Anybody want to put in the chat number one, number two, or number three? This would be number one up here, number two, or number three. Third for sure. Somebody said number three, number three. Yes, right. Most people would go with number three because they have a 5-star review. Exactly. Your eyes go right to the 5 stars. And because they've got 25 reviews, even though this one's got a 4-star, they only have one review. This one has no reviews. And what's interesting here is this is a real search. I did this in San Francisco just yesterday or the day before. And um, the interesting thing here is this Kung Fu school here probably has done a lot of work to show up on this list where they did. They might have paid a service to show up here because this is a Google Maps setting that you can actually rank on this. And without reviews, it's actually really difficult to show up on that list at all. So I'm willing to guess that this Kung Fu school has probably paid a service to show up on that list. And yet, most of the traffic, as you can tell, is going to this one simply because of these reviews here. So if you think about that, how many people are searching for what you teach in your given area? And how many of those calls and clicks? Because I guarantee you, if somebody calls that school first, if they have half a wit about them, they're going to get the person scheduled, and you'll never get in touch with those other two schools. You'll
Right.
never click it. You'll never search it again. You'll get in there, you'll enroll, and that will be the only click that matters.
Yeah. Or better yet, they click on it, go to an optimized website that then they can then schedule their intro and then you're
Right.
just dealing with when they come in the door, right? That
Exactly.
whole ecosystem we talk about.
Yes.
Dan asked a good question to this, John, as we're going through this. And
Yeah.
if you guys have questions, feel free to chat them in, even if you're watching the replay. We always come back and check. We want to get you clarity that you need. Dan asked, is it better to work on reviews beyond Google, like Yelp and stuff like that? My response, and feel free to either validate or add to or change, was 99% of people's experience with reviews are going to be on Google because that's typically they're going to search your school. They're going to see an ad and they're going to search your school, or they're just going to search for martial arts or dance in my area or whatever it is, and it's going to populate just like we see right here, Google, because Google wants everybody in their ecosystem,
Right.
which is why, side note, you really want a Google optimized website, Google business profile set up correctly. So 99% of people are going to land here. There is another, maybe 90%. There is another like 10% of people that will look at your Facebook page and see reviews there as well. If those two things are taken care of, so really, if your attention is on Google, that should take care of most of what you're dealing with. Um, Anything outside of that, if your Google is taken care of and your Facebook is pretty solid, no one's going to look anywhere else. They're not going to go to Yelp. They're not. Now, if Google isn't dialed in and Yelp is one of their search results, or they don't see any reviews like that, like Kung Fu School here, if there's no rating or reviews, and they're like, well, this one's closest, they might go Kung Fu School reviews, which would then bring other services into play.
Mm-hmm.
But Kempo Karate at the bottom, no one's going to look for more reviews outside of that. There's a good
No.
number. It's 5 stars. They're done. Their review shopping is over with. Especially because Google makes it so seamless. It's right there on the map profile. It's right there. They don't have to go anywhere else. So I didn't know if you wanted to add to that, John, or
No, that's great. That's good. Good questions there too. And I mean, there are a lot of listing sites, but Travis, you nailed it. If somebody searches reviews, like martial arts school reviews near me, if they put the word reviews in there, then Yelp's going to show up on that listing. All those other review sites are going to show up there. So, I mean, it is important to have that dialed in. But if you do it correctly, there's a pretty cheap and easy service you can use to push that listing to all of those different sites. And so, as long as, like you said, Google and Facebook are dialed in, you can actually push those to the rest of the sites for, pennies.
Yep. Yeah, and
Awesome.
Philip asked, the battle of having other people put up 1-star reviews. That's something we could probably dive into at the end, Philip. Definitely, there's definitely some nuance to that we want to get to. So I'll put a note to that so we don't ignore it. But yeah, there's the issue of, hey, people that maybe have your school confused with someone else that's happened, or just a disgruntled person that for whatever reason is disgruntled, or like you said, maybe some competition would be so deceitful to do something like that. But definitely something we'll take a look at here towards the end, Philip, to get some clarity and some strategies there.
For sure, for sure. So I want to talk through some of the key factors of reviews real quick because we looked at just now the example that I showed you was really two factors. We looked at the average star rating, the total number of reviews, or the lack of reviews. But actually, when it comes to what people actually look for and how reviews actually affect your business, there's quite a few more factors. You've got the frequency of reviews, you've got the age of reviews, and you've got the average rating across the multiple different review sites. And of course, you've got how you respond to the reviews and the sentiment overall of the review. So I'll give you a little bit more details than this, but obviously, average star rating, we all know what that means. Total number of reviews is just a nice count. That's easy. But the frequency of reviews, there was some studies that were done recently, and I don't remember the exact number, but it was like 70 some percent of people consider a review that's more than a couple months old to be irrelevant. So if
Yep.
you're not getting reviews consistently, or maybe you're like, you know what, I've already got 100 reviews from students in the past, even though they were a year ago, I'm good. That's actually not the case because number one, people in general will look and they'll say, oh, this is the last review they got was like a year ago. Is this place even open still? They'll get
Right.
those thoughts in their heads. And the other thing is, the Google, like the search engines, reviews are a huge part of your Google business profile. I mean, it's so important to have those on there because it helps with ranking. If someone says, you know, if someone just were to Google, dance studio near me or martial arts school near me, they're going to get that list of schools that are closest to them on the map, like you just saw. But if they were to say the best school near me, it might rearrange that list based on how frequent your reviews are and how recent they are. And so the age of those reviews and how often people are reviewing you can actually rank you different based on what people search for because Google's their primary objective is to give people a relevant
Right.
return for their search. And so when the AI starts looking at what's the best place around here, what do you think they're going to look at? Only thing they can do, only thing the computer can look at is human beings putting in reviews and saying it's the best, and
Yep.
then using that data, how often, how old, and um, and so those things are super important. And then the average rating across multiple review sites is exactly what we were just talking about. So yes, Google is obviously going to have the most weight. Facebook's going to have the second highest weight, but there are other review sites that people do go to and leave reviews on, and those things can all be compiled into an average review, and that also can play into that algorithm as well. But something that I personally do is, I'm very conscious of the fake reviews, and I know that I'll give a lot of businesses grace if I look up a place. For example, so if we're traveling and we're looking for a restaurant, and I want to go eat at a place, the first thing I'm looking at is the reviews. But I look at the first couple of good reviews and then I go to the 1-star reviews and I read them and I see how did that business respond to this review and who is the person leaving the review. That matters too. And so the sentiment is sort of like when I read all these reviews, how do I leave feeling? Do I leave this page feeling like, okay, this I like and trust the way that they responded to it? Because when you're responding to a negative review, for example, um, it's important to be it doesn't matter what that person who reviewed you thinks as much as it matters of what the rest of
Right.
society thinks.
Your response is to your community, not to the person.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like the old debate. In a debate, you're not going to convince the other person of your point. You're playing to the audience. You're convincing the audience. And so when you're responding to a review, what you're really doing is showing other people who are going to look at this review how you handle conflict. So it's an important factor of things.
Right.
Any questions about that? Positive reviews, negative reviews, how to respond, sentiment, any of these things? If you guys have a question, go ahead and put that stuff in the chat. Travis, anything to add to this
Yeah, I
before I
mean,
move on?
I would encourage everyone not to be scared of bad reviews either. Part of that, I mean, honestly, for me, and I think a lot of people, if you see 100 5-star reviews, subconsciously, I'm like, oh, these people were reviewing because they were given something. It's just or they're very controlled in who they let review. Like, it just makes me feel like, well, wait a minute, no one had anything that like just of all the people in the world that no one. So sometimes it's okay if you have like a 4.9 or a 4.8 or anything like that. Um, but in that, like John is saying, what does the response look like to that, right? Because I want to look at, okay, what's the worst review? And then how is that responded? And actually, sometimes if there's like a 1 star and then everything else is 5 stars, that 1 star and it's a good response, it's like, okay, these are real. This is legit. This company's good. Of course, all the people they interacted with, there was one that was upset. That's life. So that's okay. Don't get, sometimes I think we have this like, fire alarm go off if there's one bad review or a couple bad reviews. As long as it's responded to well, if anything, that actually might enhance the validity of the rest of your positive reviews if you're handling it
Yes.
well. So, and Philip's bringing up a good point, which we're going to dive into is AI helping with responses. Because it would be if you're getting a lot more reviews, it would be very taxing time wise to go in and respond to every single review initially. And the review responses are actually going to increase your search engine optimization too, because Google will see an interaction. So if there's engagement with the reviews, that's actually going to increase not just how people receive your school, but it's also going to increase your search engine optimization. So today we'll
Right.
definitely be diving in on how you can just have AI respond to these reviews to build in that bandwidth for you so you can just focus on teaching your classes.
Exactly. So let's talk a little bit about why reviews are so important. So these are some of the statistics that I pulled from a study recently. 97% of people search for local businesses online. I don't think that needs any convincing. I think all of us know that right now people are searching for stuff online. And I think we all know that 93% of people are reading reviews about local businesses. These statistics are probably not surprising to anybody. Um, the other thing is most consumers look at two review sites before making a decision, and those are obviously Facebook and Google are the top two ones when people are actually review searching. But this one struck me, and we mentioned this on another training, but I was honestly kind of shocked by this, but then it kind of settled right because I thought, I guess I do that too. It says 85% of people trust a online review as much as they trust a personal recommendation. That's pretty powerful, you know. If Travis was like, "Hey man, this restaurant over here has got some good chicken fingers," I might be like, "Yeah." But this is saying that if Joe Schmo on the internet says the same thing, I'm likely to trust that review as much. Maybe not in that case, because Travis is kind of a food snob. I think his opinion matters more in that. But most people, 85% of people, trust online reviews equally as they do like their sister-in-law. I mean, that's powerful. That's powerful. And also 77% of consumers think that reviews older than 3 months aren't relevant. So there's the number that we were talking about earlier.
Yep.
So that's a big number. I mean, you think about 3/4 of the population, if they see a review from 3 months ago, it doesn't even matter. So that's why it's so important to keep things consistent and to be always getting new reviews.
Yep. Absolutely.
Cool. Anything else you want to add to that,
No, I
Travis?
think I think I think at this point, hopefully everybody understands reviews are important, and hopefully you
Right.
came onto this because you knew reviews were important. The
Yeah.
goal today is how can we get them? How can we respond to them? How can we utilize them to improve our school without having to do a ton of stuff, right? You don't
Yes.
want to be a reputation management HR person. You're not in PR for your school. I mean, you are in a way, but you want to teach classes, right? You didn't sign up
Right.
to say, hey, I want to be a PR rep for this school and just focus all my attention on this. So how can we do this in a systematized way that just allows you to focus on running your school and the reviews just come in, they get responded to, and everything's awesome.
Absolutely, 100%. So I want to show you just the platform a little bit. As far as asking for the reviews, we inside the follow-up ninja, we have automations built already. that just automatically can go out and ask for reviews from potential students, from students who have taken a class, from students who signed up. You can kind of decide when you want these messages to actually go out. So that's a really easy part of the process. Inside of the workflows, we just have different triggers. So, for example, when someone signs up as a student, we can send them immediately into that review request workflow, and it will take care of all that for you. You never have to do anything. You can also manually send them like this. I prefer to just let the workflow do it, so I don't even manually send them. But if you had someone specifically that was like, hey, I had a great time in class today, and you said, hey, would you send me a review? Or would you give me a review? And they say yes, then you just send them the link right here. This sends them a nice little message, and it gives them a link straight to the review. So if you were to if you said, can you leave me a review? They have to like Google search. They have to find your Google business profile. They have to find the review button. There's a bunch of steps. Whereas if we have this set up correctly, which is super easy, in fact, if you integrate your Google business profile with the Follow-Up Ninja, it sets it up for you. So you don't really have to do anything. They just click the link in either a text or an email, and it goes straight to the little box that pops up and says, leave a review for this business. And then they just type in the review, and they're done. But I think the more powerful part, anything you want to add to that, Travis? It's
No, I think
pretty
that
simple.
that's definitely valuable. The powerful part, which you're going to get to, is that we can automate this process in a way where, hey, maybe it's after a recital or maybe after a belt test. All you need to do is go click, create a very simple workflow that once someone passes a certain level, that review request is just going to get sent to them. Because obviously
Yep.
we want to do it when something positive, right? After a recital,
Right.
after a belt test, like they're feeling the energy and they're excited. Oh, yeah, yeah. So you can just have it send automatically as things happen in the school, which is really, really powerful.
Yes, definitely. Question from Dan, capturing the link to send to your member. So if you were going to capture it manually, the way you can do it is you can Google your school's name. So if we let's just
Yeah, so Dan, John's going to be showing you kind of a more manual way to do it.
yeah,
Inside of
click.
our Follow Up Ninja software, you can actually just click one button and it's going to send that stuff automatically. It'll email and text that to them. But if you wanted to do it manually, you make sure you're logged in on your Google business profile and then you're going to Google your school.
Yep. And then you would go to reviews, and then you would go to write a review. And then I'm pretty sure you can just pull this URL right here. Is
Well,
that
if you're
right?
the Google Business Manager, there's going to be a button there that
There's
says
a button.
get more reviews and then it'll create a share link.
That's right. You got to be
Bit more
signed
manual
into.
for you, Dan,
Yeah, it's a
because
little
you're going
more
to have
manual.
to go do that over and over again.
Right.
Whereas the nice thing about the Follow Up Ninja is if you just sign into your Google account in the Follow Up Ninja,
Yep.
it does that already. It'll email and send it to people
Yep.
straightforward. So
Yeah, it'll actually
that's a pretty
pull
nice
it
feature.
straight from your Google business profile, so you don't have to really do anything um, if you're integrated with that with your Google business profile. So what I wanted to show you here is a couple things. So we talked about the way to respond to ads or way to respond to reviews. There's a couple of ways you can do it. And I just want to show you this account here. There's some reviews that have come in. You can see, and we got a couple of responses here. These are manual responses. So it's pretty easy. It pulls them all in, whether it's from Facebook or whether it's from Google. They all kind of land in this section right here under reviews. To respond to it manually, you just click reply. You type out your reply and it posts it directly to whatever platform the review was on. So this one's on Google. You would type a response here, hit send, and it puts it on the Google response. It keeps it inside this platform too. There's also, which I think is super slick, this AI reply. So if you just click this, it'll just type up a reply for you. This is more of a suggestive way to do it. So you can say, you're basically saying, hey, AI, type me up a response to this. And what's amazing about the AI now, it's so smart. It like pulls things from the actual review and responds to it like a human would. Like you see, like it says received let's see, 20 years ago. And then it says even over 20 years later. Like it's pulling in stuff like exactly from the yeah, look at
Another
it's
review,
saying
yeah.
thanks, Kurt, and it's signing it off. Best like it's so smart that it generates this stuff in seconds in a way that makes so much sense.
Yep.
So that's the second way you can do it. And then the third way is there's a setting on here just called automatic, and it just will respond. I'm going to show you a couple of those too. Here's a couple that have gone out recently. So what's neat is same thing. It's pulling. It knows how many stars. So it says thanks for the 5 star. This person has said, something about the coaches and the instructors. It's given accolades to the
Yeah.
dojo itself. And then the responses, we appreciate your kind words about coaches and instructors. So, I mean, it's just amazing how smart this AI is. And it's automatically sending these replies. And you can actually set it up to humanize it a little bit. You could say only go to Google or only go to Facebook, or by default does both. You can tell it to only respond to certain star ratings. If you only want it responding to the good ones and you want to handle the negative ones by yourself, you can. If you want it to wait a little while, you can say like wait 2 minutes, wait 2 hours. And then
Yep.
you can also put like a footer
How
that
you want it to
basically
sign off.
says,
Yeah.
a sign off or something like that. So
I like
it's
that because you can set it up where maybe you just, if you want to respond to negative reviews or positive, like you can set it up to do both in
yep.
different ways. So that's pretty nice. So this is like totally hands off. Like, hey,
Yeah.
I have students come in. When they come in and they get to a certain point, whether they join or whatever, the system automatically sends them a review request and reminds them to do it. They do it. The system then responds to it based on the parameters I want it to respond. And now all these things are happening and you're just teaching classes and focusing on your school. There is actually
Absolutely.
another positive there, John, but I didn't know if you had any more technical stuff you wanted to show, but there is actually
Yeah,
kind
go
of a
for it. Yeah.
so another great thing about an automated system like the follow-up ninja is now we've just removed all that from your plate, right? And it's like, okay, well, how do I leverage these reviews even better for content or getting students in the door? Well, if you were here with us a few weeks ago, the Follow Up Ninja also has a social media planner that you can schedule out all of your social media, which we actually, any Follow Up Ninja member, we give a year's worth of posts. So that's already done. But if you're inside of John, if you go to marketing on the left-hand menu. So let's say we got some reviews coming in. People are leaving great reviews that we might need to be one that's hooked up.
Any on
Yeah,
the
you could
top of
probably
your
just go
mind?
to get like mine, get karate students, Travis, because that's connected to something, right? Yep.
Yes.
Cool. So we can basically harness the full aspect of the system and we can go to where it is, or maybe it is under reputation management. We might have moved it. As far as auto posting,
Yeah, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I think it's under reputation. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I got excited about the yeah.
Is it a
It's
widget? It's not
no,
a
it's under
widget.
review, maybe under reviews and settings. No, go to settings. Hmm.
Oh, is it
Oh,
down
it's
here?
down. I was like, this is what I was looking for. Okay. Basically, what we can do is, I don't want you guys to figure out while we fumble it around. Is anytime a good review comes in, you can actually automate it to post to your socials. So if, that review that John showed comes in, you can have it wait 24 hours. And then in 24 hours, it's going to make it look really nice with a nice background. And then it's going to post it to whatever socials you want it to, whether it be your Facebook page, your Instagram page. Um, it could even be LinkedIn or something like that. It could just automatically post those as a post. So it's going to automatically create content for you, which is really nice. Again, now it's another way to, leverage those reviews without having to, oh, I got to go copy and paste. I got to do all this stuff. When am I going to post this? You can just have it automatically do that for you.
Yeah, I can't
I'll
remember where
find
that
it. So
is.
you
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 find
did
it.
it.
You
You
find
dig in. I was in it the other day, and I know we moved it to make it easier for everybody. But
it.
whenever we
Except
move
for
something, I'm
us.
so used to where it was.
Easier for everybody but us. Yeah. And so just to kind of touch on some of the stuff we talked about earlier, that overall the sentiment of leads, um, the sorry, somebody I needed to mute somebody making noises. If you look at all the different listing sites, so these are actually all of the listing sites that there are, and you can see there's about 9 pages of these. And these are all the different types of online listings. Many of them have review plugins, and a lot of them just pull reviews from Google itself, and they'll display it as if it's their own. You saw Yelp was on there at the end there. But all of these sites, you can push your listing to through a service called Yext that we offer as a plugin inside of the Follow Up Ninja as well. So maybe you've seen that where you get like a little banner up here that says Activate Yext. That's what this is for. It will push that listing out to all of the different sites, which number one helps your online visibility extraordinarily high. Plus, it helps with AI searches, which are getting more and more popular. Like people will ask Alexa, what's the closest school to, like, we do that sometimes. Like, hey, what time does blah 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 school open? Or and so having all these listings helps the AI really kind of dial in and get the right answer for you. So if you said, hey Alexa, what's the best school in the area for learning whatever art you teach?
Yep.
Having stuff like this, or the Google Voice, if you have a Google Assistant on your voice, or if you're on your phone, or if you have Siri. A lot of people talk to their phone as if it's like a person, their personal assistant. These listings are really where all that data gets pulled for those AIs. And so it's important to be listed on all these as well. So that's kind of part of the review reputation. It's more of the reputation management side of things than reviews specifically, but it's all part of that process. And this is another
Right.
service that people charge hundreds and hundreds of dollars for, in which it is an upsell or an upgrade in the Follow Up Ninja, but it's extremely cheap. So anyhow, wanted to mention that because I ran across it. Did you find those that
Yeah,
setting on
yeah.
there?
I remember we updated it. So it's actually inside of marketing. I mean, how
Is it
cool is
mark?
that to just have your business on Alexa like that easily, right? With
Right.
click of a button, right? Um, but if you go to new post on the top right, John,
Ah,
and you go to post reviews,
yes.
then you can
Of
select
course.
the parameters, what sources you want the reviews to come from. This one only is connected to Facebook, this particular account.
All right. Yep.
Um, and then
You
what
can say
ratings you want to post. Obviously, it might be
four and
four and
above,
above,
five
right?
star.
I don't know. Hey, maybe you want to post the 1 stars. I'm not sure. Um, and then you can select the socials you want them to. And again, that can be
Yep.
Instagram, it could be TikTok, it could be pretty much anything your business is connected to. And then the number of posts you want to go out. So how often do you want it to go and how many do you want it? So if you want it to pull from all your reviews and then post one a day. Sorry, Dan, mine was going off too. That's why I turned around. Dan's Amazon device is going off.
Mine's far away. Yeah. Otherwise,
So then it's going to pull all of them. And then okay, I want one post per week for a review. And if you're not sure how to do social media stuff, let me know. I'll send you our social media planning training. And then when you want it to post, and then you just kind of select this cool background, or you can actually add your own background if you want. Then it
yep.
creates the post, and then it's just going to do that for you. You don't have to go, okay, oh, I got to post a review today, or oh man, I got to screenshot this and crop it and edit it and upload. Oh, it's not the right size. Oh, this, it's just boom, done. Reviews are there, and they're going to be posting.
Yeah, that is an amazing feature. I forgot all about that. I'm glad you brought it up. Obviously, we weren't prepared for that today, but
When we moved, I was in reputation management. You could click
yeah,
it, but it makes sense now that it's part of the social media scheduling.
yeah,
It's a little bit more streamlined as you're in there.
yep, for sure, for sure. Excellent, cool. All right, questions about any of that stuff? Go ahead and type them into the chat right now. I'll quit saying the A word so that people's devices aren't lighting up. But really, what I want to show you is just kind of a recap of how the Follow Up Ninja really automates all of those factors. If you remember, asking for reviews, right? Automating the asking, it gives you the average star rating because 5 star reviews, people who leave 5 star reviews need prompting. People who leave 1 star reviews need no prompting. And so the more you ask, the higher your rating is going to go up. The total number of reviews is going to go up the more you ask. And the frequency of those reviews is going to go up the more you ask. And so will the age of the reviews because you're always asking for things. And the average star rating across all those multiple sites, everything goes up more just by asking for more reviews. So those first few factors that we talked through as far as what are important in reviews are all automatically raised up and fixed and optimized just by asking for those reviews. And if you automate that process, like in the Follow Up Ninja, then the raising of all those factors is automatic. And then the 3 ways to respond, we talked through the manual way to respond, which is just you get a notification, it pops right up into your conversation tab. So if you have the Follow Up Ninja, when you're getting reviews, you'll see these conversations over here on the left. And when there's an unread conversation, here, it'll show up right here. And when there's a review that comes in, it'll pop in there as well. And you'll be able to see that just like as if someone had sent you a text message or an email. It all comes into that same conversation tab, and then you can just manually reply right there as well. But the more simple way is to let the AI respond to it, because you saw it doesn't respond just like a cookie cutter, blurb like thanks for the review. It actually pulls stuff from the review. It reads it intelligently, and it's able to take that and respond back to it. It even does it with negative reviews. In fact, we've gotten some of those fake reviews that say like your page is going to get shut down because of copyright infringement, and it replies back and it says, we understand the importance of copyright infringement. Thank you for bringing this to our attention. And then we just report it to Facebook.
Right.
But it replies there
Yeah.
automatically
And the
based
nice thing
on.
about that too, coming in the conversation area of the Follow Up Ninja, is you see it. Sometimes you'll get like a fake review on Facebook or something or Google, and it gets lost in all the notifications and emails and stuff, so you don't remember. But when it's in that nice inbox and then it's
Yep.
already replied to, so as the hours go by of you not seeing it, people see that there's an actual reply. But then you're also going to be more notified where you can go in and mark it as not accurate review, so it can then be pulled down by Facebook or Google or what have you.
Yes. Yes. And there's really no reason to pay any services to get those taken down. Most of the platforms are pretty good. They're not always very fast at taking those things down. But if you're just like something I found with big companies, especially like Facebook and Google, is if you just like are kind and not mean or demanding when you ask for help, the reps there will just like they'll spend all their attention on you. They'll spend all their time helping you, because you can imagine with platforms like that, there's a lot of angry people that are loud.
Yep.
And if you type in all caps or you say things like, this is ridiculous, they'll just ignore you. They think about the rep there that's making probably a little over minimum wage. They've got a computer screen full of stuff they have to work on. If they see somebody who's like, hi, I'm so sorry to ask this, but I'm trying to figure out how this review got posted because this person has never really
Right.
set foot in our school. If it's just like kind and tell them what happened, and then like appreciative, like thanks for your help, they'll they're going to go to that and they're going to spend all their time working on that. As the other ones are building up, they're just going to ignore all the people typing in all caps or saying, this is ridiculous. I'm going to contact my
Mhm.
lawyer. Like that rep does not care about any of that
Yeah.
stuff. They want an easy day. They want to drink their coffee from Starbucks and, deal with you being nice. So,
They
anyhow,
want what we all want, right? They don't want to deal with bad
right.
reviews. You don't want to do so. And to
Yeah.
that kind of Philip asked earlier, what do we do about the kind of the bad reviews that are from other organizations or not people that they might have us confused with someone else? Honestly, if the more reviews you have, one, they get lost in it. So that's
Yep.
a good thing, right? So if you have 12 reviews and two of them are fake, that's glaring, right? I mean, we're talking about, 20% of the reviews are fake or from someone else. If you have 150 reviews and 10 are fake, we're talking a very, small amount. And on top of that, when you ask Google or Facebook to remove an inaccurate review or a fake review, they are going to see all your other reviews. So
Yep.
if you have three reviews and one of them is fake, it's going to be hard for them to say, well, look, yeah, I can obviously tell this is fake from someone that got you confused with someone else. If you have 150 reviews or 50 reviews or whatever, and they're all positive, and there's just this one like glaring, like crazy negative one,
Yeah.
they're humans. They're going to naturally say, oh, yeah, I can see that this isn't the norm for your place. This person's confused or whatever, not being honest about what's in there. So that helps too. So having an automated way to get more reviews is going to help you just have those things be removed more quickly by the reps at these companies.
Yes. 100%. 100%. Oop, am I on the,
You're good.
sorry. Seeing something weird. Also, and we talked a little bit about that hybrid way to use the AI responses where you can actually click and it will just generate the response. You can read it, you can edit it before it gets sent. So that's the third way. If you're a little less trusting of the AIs at first, it's also a good way to test it to see what it's going to do. You can use the suggestive mode. You can use that a few times. And if you found yourself clicking generate and then you're like, this looks good, let's go with it. If you do that a few times, then it kind of builds your trust in the AI to just say, go ahead and just take over and do this
Right.
manually or do it automatically. So super
Yep.
cool. Multiple ways to do things. And then, of course, the combination of asking for and responding to reviews is going to raise the sentiment of those reviews. And then, of course, the Yext listing, which puts it out to like all, I don't know, 200 different listing sites that actually exist on the internet. Will also help the overall sentiment. It helps with the AI in terms of like searching and ranking and reputation in general. It's pretty hard to have a bad reputation online if 200 sites say you have a good one,
Right.
even if you get a bad review here or there.
Yep.
And so that's sort of what that whole process is like. So, are we getting any questions in or any other
No,
kind of
I think so.
stuff?
Ask questions, guys, definitely, but I think that's pretty straightforward. I guess
Cool.
the question I would have if I was in your shoes, correct me if I'm wrong, everybody here, is all right, well, okay, how do I automate this stuff, right? How do I get plugged into something like this?
Definitely. Yep. So we'll talk through some of that. So the follow up ninja is obviously the application that we use. And what the follow up ninja includes is a big list of things. Obviously, the big one we're talking about today is the reputation and review management. I've yet to find one, any service or any software that does what the follow up ninja does for less than $300 a month. So we're valuing that at $3,000 a year. It also comes with all of our plug and play automations, not just for review management, but also lead follow up and appointment reminders and all the stuff that you've seen in the past. It comes with our mobile app, which is called Lead Connector, where you can actually log in and you can see the reviews on your phone. You can request reviews right there. You can respond to text messages, but you can also see all the other stuff too, like the automations and the appointment reminders and all that stuff. You can obviously we have our social media planner, which we talked a little bit about today, that will actually post your reviews to your site or to post reviews to your social medias. You can also obviously schedule out those social medias. All of the members of our Follow Up Ninja platform right now have probably already scheduled their social media for the entire year with a couple of clicks of a button. They've just imported all those from our CSV file. And of course, the event promotions, which is what we talked about in our last training. And then, of course, the membership portal, which we didn't really talk much about here today, but we're going to be doing another training on that very soon. So the total value of what you get from the Follow Up Ninja easily valued over $6,500 a year, which is about $500 a month in real world value. But of course, you can set this up in about 10 minutes. You don't have to worry about any of that. The real question is, what would it be worth to you? And if you're let's say you're charging $150 a month for your classes. If all this did was help 6 new students enroll this year, let's say, remember the first image that we looked at with those 3 businesses, and one of them had 25 reviews with a 5-star review. If just one every other month, one of those turned into a student for you instead of somebody else in your area, what do you think that would be worth to you? Math wise, it's pretty simple. 150 a month times 6 students is $900 a month in recurring revenue, times 12 months is $10,000 in added value to your school. So even if we were to charge $6,500 for the Follow Up Ninja, this would obviously be a great value and a steal. But of course, for the Follow Up Ninja, you don't have to pay that or our regular $3,000 per year
If you
price.
want to, you
You
can.
could, but we're not gonna let you do that. $167 a month is all it is. Trav's gonna post a link if he hasn't already. Yep, you have.
Yep, just
Um,
got it in there. Yep. I
Excellent.
look at it
So
as John, like, hey, look, is having an automated social media planner, having a reputation management planner, having an automated follow-up, like just one of those things, is it worth one more student a month? Will it get me one more student a month? If
right,
the answer is yes, or hey, would I pay one of my students or a parent $167 a month to manage all my social media? If the answer is yes, then just do this because this is proven. Would I
right,
pay someone $150 a month to? So it's like that helps me make good financial decisions because sometimes I just look at the cost. I'm like, well, $167 per month, and it's just about the number, as opposed to, well, would I do these things or is it worth these things? And if the answer is yes, then awesome. If it's not, I'm curious to find out why it wouldn't be, to be
right,
honest, because I don't think why I can't see why it wouldn't be.
right.
But if the answer is yes, there's really no risk in jumping in and using the software to really make your life better.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's what we always try to do is make your lives better. So just a quick recap, you get the plug and play automations, the mobile app, the reputation review management, the automated appointment reminder, social media planner. The AI is built into all that now. The event promos, the registration, the student membership portal, all of that is included in that 167 a month. We also have something else that is amazingly valuable. If you upgrade to our annual billing, we actually throw in a free website and 2 free months of the Follow Up Ninja. So, you pay for 10 months, you get 12 months included, plus a Google optimized basic SEO SSL certificate included, Google business profile training even included in that. So you get all of that for just the 10 months of the Follow Up Ninja. So basically 2 months free plus that free Google optimized lead generating website. Pretty incredible. Just as a quick recap, all those things we talked about, the reputation review management, the plug and play automations, the mobile app, the automated appointment reminders, the social media planner, the event promos, and the registration system, the student membership portal. And of course, if you upgrade to the annual billing, you get the fully customizable website included in that and 2 months free. Total value of that's easily over $700 per month. Of course, it's only $167 per month for you all when you sign up right now. So I can at this point we can just answer questions and get
Yeah.
to some of those
Yeah, I
questions.
love that. Well, before we get into questions, Ben, who's been with our program for a few years, Ben Schneider, great guy, technological guy too. Like, so he knows what's out there. I know he's a
Yeah.
guy that loves tech, and you don't need to know tech to be able to use something like this.
Mm-mm.
But to me, that just gives this statement, and I'm so appreciative of you, Ben. My review of the Follow Up Ninja, I've been using the Follow Up Ninja for 4 years, and is by far the best program of this type out there. We appreciate
Wow.
that. So that's
Thanks,
awesome.
Ben. What a,
I
what a,
love that coming from you. That means a lot, sir. So I really, really appreciate you sharing that because I know you've probably tested a lot of things out there,
yeah.
and you probably built a lot of things on your own. So that means a lot to us. Um, Sean had a question. Sean Racky, I figured we could just show people how easy some of this is by
Sure.
Sean had more of a technical question. Sean is part of our student magnet program. He uses the follow up ninja and he's on here saying, hey, I want to use this to the best of its ability. He wants to know, hey, how can I get to my contacts
Yep.
and kind of filter out particular contacts and then send them review requests?
Easy. Yep.
Yep. So
Let
maybe
me
we
pull you
could
up,
walk
Sean.
through Sean's
Yeah,
account specifically and show him how to do that. And if
for
you
sure.
guys are, I love if people stay on to see how easy this is. This is someone that's been using our ad system, Student Magnet, for years. It's grown his school significantly, uses the Follow Up Ninja, and is trying to optimize all the tools. So
Yep.
get a real live look in here.
Got a lot of context. So, Sean, to build a list, I think you're probably pretty familiar with list building, but if you wanted to just send to your students, I'm pretty sure you have a um,
He has a student.
pipeline
It looks like
stage.
student saved list at the top there, John.
Oh, you're right. He does already. Students. Okay. So you got your student list here. If you wanted to send only to your students, and I'm not sure what this filter this might be. Yeah, student. Okay, so if they're in the pipeline stage, student enrolled, what you can do here is simply click the checkbox here, and then put them on the review request workflow. Ask for review, and then you can just hit add to automation. I won't do it for you right now, but that would be how you do it. So pretty simple. That's if you wanted to do it manually. If you wanted to make it trigger automatically when someone gets into that student enrolled pipeline, what you would do simply is in the automation, we pull up that review, ask for review, and then we would just put a trigger up here that says when they get to that pipeline stage of or the location, when they get to student enrolled, that's the trigger. So then we just say to, I like to label it. You don't have to, but this way at least you know what it is. And then you hit save trigger. This time, anytime somebody moves to that student enrolled stage, it's going to put them into that review request process. It's pretty cool. And then something else you can do too is you can make this stop on response and you can loop it to where if they haven't reviewed you, oops, I didn't mean to leave that one. Let me go back to that. So these are all preferences. Some people like to ask for reviews regularly. Some people prefer to wait longer. So what you can do is just a little fancy go to step and a little fancy wait step right here. So we can just say, whoops, first we want to go to there, but first we want to wait. And we can say wait 90 days. Save that. So now it's going to ask for the review. by text and email. Then it's going to add a tag that says we asked them for a review. And then instead of removing them from the workflow, we'll go ahead and take this off. We'll wait 90 days and then we'll go to asking for the review again. And then we change that setting to stop on response, which means if they leave a review, it's going to respond. It's going to put a response into your conversation. It'll take them off of that so that it doesn't after they review. And I think I don't know, is there an if reviewed? We could probably figure that out. Once they leave a review, we could tag. We get a little fancier with it, but this is a nice little like 90-day loop
Yeah.
to get into reviews. So you're all set there, Sean, as far as like new reviews that come in. And then if you wanted to go and send a review out to all of your current students, you can do it the way I showed you earlier.
Yep. Awesome. Super simple.
Mm-hmm.
Good question, Sean. Glad we could get into the technical aspects. Ben asked if he wants to do a review request to all of his current students. Should he space them out so he doesn't get a lot of reviews at once? I love the mindset. Like we don't want, hey, if I have 150 students, I don't want all those reviews this week, right? So I told him very simply, you could probably we just put a wait step that drips out the review requests in batches
Yeah,
in
so you
that
would
same
do it.
automation.
That's going to be actually in the when you actually add them to that review request. So let's say you had I'm just going to use
6,000 students.
6,000. If you had 6,000 students, you're probably living in Jamaica, like on an island somewhere that you own. But when you go to set these people up onto that workflow, so you've selected all these, you click this add to automation. When you get to this step here, you can use this drip mode, and then you can tell it what day to start the drip. And then you can say batch quantity. So you could say, 5 a day and then repeat after every day or every 2 days. You could have it send only on specific days. So this would send on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. You could say, maybe I just want them to go on these 3 days here. And so then you could send like 10 out a day and it will repeat Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And then you can also set it to start between certain hours. So that's not sending it in the middle of the night. That would be how you would request those reviews in more of a drip type sequence.
There's also a drip. We just added that, John. There's a drip step in the workflow as well. I know Ben's a little more technical too.
Oh,
So if he wants it to just be like automated people going into that workflow, we just added a
sweet.
drip action item there, Ben. So
Nice.
you can do it in quantities and time delays and everything. Same way that John talked about. I know, again, if you wanted to automate people going into that, you can just add a drip step at the beginning of the review request.
Yes, sir. Simple, simple. Cool. Any other questions?
I do not see anybody in here with questions, but I'd love to know if anybody has. I'm checking all our chat avenues here. I appreciate everybody being on. Hopefully this was helpful. If it was, feel free to let us know how it was. Feel free to chat in things that stood out to you, so maybe we can dive deeper into those things.
Yeah.
And we're gonna have another training here coming up next week, so keep an eye on your inboxes and your text messages.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, we'll call it a day for today, and we'll pick this back up on the next training. So, thanks for joining us, everybody, and
See you,
we'll
everybody.
see you. We'll see you next time.